Today guys, we're going to be showing you the replacement of a center bearing. Now this one's a CV style type tail shaft, so it's a little bit different to the uni joints, but we'll go through and I'll show you a couple other styles that you might find along the way. So once again, doing any tail shaft sort of job, come along. What I've done is got my white pen, marked that, and I've also come along with a pin punch and marked these two punch marks here. So sometimes if you do use the paint, you rub it off while you're working on the vise or on the bench and stuff like that. So as a secondary, I just always use a little pin punch, mark it up. Same down the gearbox end, mark that one up there as well. So come along, loosen off all these bolts. Same with the center bearing, got that loose, and now it's just a matter of dropping the center bearing out, dropping the front, sliding the tail shaft forward, and then straight out the back here, and I'll show you it all set up on the bench. So once you've got the tail shaft separated, which is just the other center joint, there'll be a circlip behind that one. You'll take that joint off there, you'll find another circlip in behind the center bearing, and then with a bit of force sometimes you'll just be able to knock the center bearing off. It's a bit of a pain to get that one off, but I've got it there now, so we'll clean this all up, make sure it's all nice and clean, grab a new center bearing, get it installed. Installing it, when you might have to give it a little tap around very lightly, and you only want to be on the surface of the bearing. I'll show you on this one here. So this is the old bearing. So you want to try and use the chisel just on this silver center part. You don't want to be hitting out here, because that's where the ball bearings are and stuff like that. So just very lightly, just tap it, make sure it's nice and home. You'll hear the different noises when you're doing it at home. Slightly back to the circlip time again. Here, lock in. Another thing you do, just move it around the circlip. You'll be able to tell then if it's actually seated all the way around. If it's not, it'll actually grab and pretty much flick off towards you. And just test that quickly. You want it to be spinning freely. If it sort of goes and you have to physically move it around, there's obviously something there that's gone wrong when you've either installed it and hasn't gone on squarely, or you've got the wrong center bearing for the wrong vehicle. So always just check that before going back into installing the vehicle. Back on with the dust covers sometimes. No, with this one, so with the original Commodore center bearing, you'll knock this dust cap off to get the bearing off. The new one actually has an overextended one, and that'll come up and meet up with the boot. So there's another boot that comes in off that CV joint, so there's no need to reinstall this one, because it's just going to flop around and make noise, so no longer required. Very messy job. So now we've got the center bearing back on that shaft. We're going to put the two shafts back together, and just pretty much following the exact same way you took it out. Make sure you're marking up all those white lines and those markings that you've got, so the shaft goes back in the same position, because now we've split the two shafts. Fairly simple job if you do have all the correct tools. You'll find these center bearings universal joints, CV joints, all this stuff available at onlineautoparts.com.au.